This is the back of the, looking at the back wall. That's the two metal bars. That's the side looking towards the outside wall of the trailer. That's number 3. This is the front of the bathtub where you can see number 6 and the 5 in the corners. This is the bar going up the side on the back of the trailer next to the sink. This is the wall on the side, on the outside of the trailer. You can see it's all tore up. There's another view of the same wall except closer to the shower head. And this is the back corner that I'm going to be removing, those two walls, and I'm going to move the brown wood part, but I'm going to leave the front part because it's okay. So here's the back again, and I'm going to remove those two bars and tear out that wall. And there's the number 4 again. It looks like a duplicate, doesn't it? Now here's the shower curtain rail for next to the back wall. Here's the middle support of the shower curtain rail. And finally, here is the front part next to the shower head at the front of the shower curtain wall. And this is me removing the bottom metal bar. And this is me moving the top metal bar that seals the tub. And there's what I'm looking at as far as the sidewall that is really a mess. After removing the sidewall, this is all that's left, all the glue and stuff, and that blue stuff is the styrofoam that's used for insulation. I'm replacing that with something else. There's more pictures of the styrofoam and the wall next to the trailer outside. And this is more of the styrofoam. I numbered them, but I didn't end up using them. So this was just all to remind me of what goes where. But I completely redid this wall. Now down here you can see where things are torn up. That little wooden bracket was supposed to be for that wire coming through. This is more of the torn up section on the outside wall, the torn up section of the outside wall again towards the front of the bathtub. This is the back corner of the where the two walls meet in the back. There you see the wire that's hanging out. That's for the trailer lights. This is removing the panel that was covered by the two metal brackets, and this is removing the panel on the back wall. I ended up reusing both of those panels. And this here is that corner again that's all torn up. I'm going to rip all that out. This again is another picture of the back corner with the clearance lights wire going up to the top. Another picture, you can see how torn it up that is underneath those two metal brackets. And that all gets torn out. That's what was underneath those metal brackets. Yeah. And there is an upside down version of the wall. That's pretty good, isn't it? I like upside down versions, or at least sideways. But that's looking down the wall. And there's another wall all torn to pieces. That's the underlayment, not the piece that I used. You can see that. I didn't bother to put a second underlayment in the back because I put so much wood in the back. I probably should have, though. Then here is the back after tearing out that all corroded part. And you can see down below it's all corroded again down to the bathtub. This is after I tore out both pieces. It was all covered, instead of styrofoam, with the fiberglass type. There's the wire that goes up to the clearance light at the top and then going over to the other clearance light, and that's me filming everything. And there's the back wall of the insulation. I tear all that out and replace that with Reflectix, which is, you'll see later on what that is. And there's that wall. That wood there is not very good shape, but all of those torn up pieces of wood are connected to the aluminum outside, so I kept them just as backing plates but put in all new wood to replace it. You can see down below there, that's the cord that went to the lights, the backup lights, yeah, and the tail lights and the brake lights. You see that big wad down there of all those wires going out. That's for the rear tail lights. and then that's just all torn up. I ended up, in a little bit here, I'm going to take the bathtub out and get all the way down to the bottom because I'm not at the bottom yet. And that's when I discovered the pipes were broken on the bathtub in 2 places, which was not so good. No wonder they didn't use it. They used rigid pipe and just, it's really stupid. I'm pointing out stuff up there. Oh, I kept that rubber insulation at the top because I can't buy that anywhere. Or I couldn't save the one in the back corner, so I had to put in my own stuff. And there's the front of the tub again. These are photographs. This is after I took the bathtub out, and you can see there's more insulation. See how rotted that wood is? Look at that wood there. Jesus, it's just disintegrated. So I have to tear all that out. Now this is the underneath the tub. You can see the pipe is completely broken off. And I found it was broken in 2 places. So I ended up getting a fix for that is much better with flexible pipe. That wire going down to the bottom is the one that goes to the water tanks for telling it what the water level is in the black and the gray tank. And yeah, there you can see all the stuff that I got to replace. I'm replacing all that wood, and I replaced that wire coming out. They just ran it behind the wall, but I run it all the way down so that all my wires are coming out in one place, and I'm sure they're not rubbing. And then down in that hole there, I replace all that with new wood all the way down there, and then I put new post and beam construction. I put it up down there too. I had to tear out all that wood. It was kind of hard to get to, but I got to all of it. And then this is going up the walls again. You can see the outside aluminum is attached to those wooden boards. So you push on it, and I can't get those reattached unless I were to take the aluminum siding off, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to leave that wood as bad as it is, just as a backing plate for those screws. The same on this side. I'm going to save that wood for the backing plate. Some of it's not bad as you get closer to the sink and the toilet, but the stuff towards the corner where the leak was is just destroyed. I replaced that there, which you see those screws coming through. That's what's holding the trailer's tail lights on, and that was just completely rotted, so the tail light was ready to fall off. So I put that in with really good heavy wood now, so they're not going to come out again. And this is another view of those areas where I've got to put wood down below, and I will, you'll see later on that I've got that in there pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. Yeah, there's more pictures of that back wall. I'm really trying to figure out how the heck to do that, but I figure out a good way. I sandwich what's I need, which is holding on to the back paneling. I sandwich it in between pieces of wood. Here it is afterwards, after I replaced it. Now that's not very good brightness, is it? I didn't turn on, oh, there comes the lighting. It's automatic adjustment, I guess. Later on I turned on the flash for everything. But this is all the wood I put in. I reinforced everything I could, and then I put in new wood where I could. That piece of wood there is okay. That's the wood I put in there to replace the other one, and I put another one on top of it to sandwich that old piece of wood that was rotted, but the outside wall was attached to it. And there I sandwiched it in between 2 pieces, and then I put that there as a post and beam construction to hold that board up, kind of like a header, so it's not going anywhere. And then down below I rested on top of there, and part of the wood was still good. See, there's more of that post and beam. Those 2 boards there are what now my tail light screws into, so it's in there solid. It's not coming out. And then down below, there's the wood I added at the bottom, and you can see it's, and I added that little cross there for new wood because I wanted that to replace the old wood, and later I'll be using that to screw in the screws for the bathtub plates. And yeah, so moving right along, there's that wire there. Jesus, just hanging loose. So I spliced into that and made it longer so it went all the way down to the bottom. I do that a little later instead of just going tucked behind the wall. I didn't want it to rub. And then now that's the next wall I'm going to do. put in the wood for that. I got that cleaned out all the way down, and then I'll sandwich that between wood too. And then there's down below, I'll put in the new wood down at the bottom, and I'll sandwich these things, and I'll put new supports in so that wall's much sturdier than it was before. Might as well make it better than it was. And those, pointing out to those ones that I need to keep because they're the backing plate for the holding the wall in place. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next segment. Oh, there's that mouse hole. I'm going to change that out electrically too, so the wire is not coiled up inside the trailer. You'll see later on where I do that. And I just about get that all done, and I'll be ready for the next piece. Okay, now here we are after I still put that rubber gasket. I keep those gaskets at the top. They're very good and they're very flexible, and I can't replace them, so I didn't try to get replacement ones. Very hard to get replacement parts, I found. Now I have the light on the camera, so I don't have that darkness anymore. And here it is. There's my supports. You see how I sandwiched the old ones in between there, between two new boards, and those two new boards are bracketed together so it makes one solid wall, and those boards go all the way down to the bottom, and at the bottom I put in new wood for it to rest on, so I got a solid post and beam kind of construction, and or a sole plate, I guess you'd call it. And it created a new top plate. There I am again looking at that corner. All that wood has been replaced, and it's looking pretty good back there now. It's a heck of a lot more wood than it used to have, and it's a lot sturdier wood. I used my brother's table saw to cut that wood just the right dimension so it would fit. I had a lot of ripping to do to match the trailer wood because they don't use standard size wood. Now you can see that this is after I installed the insulation. That's called Reflectotech, and it's a roll and it goes on, and it's fairly good insulation. I'm not going to live in Alaska or anything, so it should be fine. It was better than what I had. Well, I know that styrofoam was probably pretty good, but too hard to work with. This is easy. You just cut it out with scissors and slap it in. Okay, here I am after I've put in the new pieces. Actually, that's the old pieces, and I put them back in, at least the top part. And then you see I added one more crossbar there, and then there's the new paneling I put in. I had to put it in two sections because it wouldn't fit in a retrofit, so I had to do it in two pieces, and that's why that divider's there. The part you see down below, that's below the tub and below the caulking, so that won't leak. And I will be getting ready here to add the next step. Yeah, that corner there, that corner was a problem. But later on I resolved it. That corner was a potential leak. And then there I'm looking at the mouse hole again. I'm going to change that out. You see all that wire, big black stuff that looks like a snake? That'll all go away. It'll all be external to the trailer instead of internal. And then I got to clean that fitting there. Oh, there's some wires. I wanted to get those out of the way and reroute them, but I can't get fittings for that. That's a problem with the RV stuff. It's a major repair. Maybe I'll do it later, but not now. I wanted to put a shelf in there above the pipes so nothing would hit them. I can still put the shelf in there, but I got a problem with those hoses going down. They shouldn't have put them in that way, but they were kind of lazy and in a hurry. They weren't thinking about using that cabinet for anything useful. Just an access hole, which is kind of dumb. Yep, there's this is a photograph of the completed back section. There's another photograph of that wall, the back wall by the sink. That's a closer picture of the back wall by the sink. And now you can see the flash glare. Now here is the power kit I put in. This is what I put in so that I could connect the outside wire or the shore power to the trailer from the outside and connect it like a big extension cord that was waterproof, and it'd eliminate me having to have it done inside the trailer. So this is after the fact. So now you see that there's no longer that black wire all coiled up. All there is that little wire that goes in through what used to be the mouse hole. Now I have it pegged up above so it's out of the way, and then it comes back down into the power control center on the trailer. And then there's a pipe. I haven't fought with the pipe yet, but that will be my next project. Getting the bathtub all squared away. I've got some new fittings to put in there that will take care of the rigidity of that pipe. I'll be replacing with flex, plus something to replace the P-trap. Looking in from the outside, there's that former mouse hole that's now a solid rigid connection. In order to do that, I had to add an adapter plate because my screws weren't right. They were completely opposite of what is now the industry standard. And but fortunately the kit came with another panel that I could put over the top of it, re-drill 3 new holes and put it in. And that's the almond one, you see, the bigger ring, and then the white one is the insert that goes into the almond one, and you can see all that white caulking around it. And then you just now take it and disconnect it like an extension cord, and it's completely waterproof, at least that little door is. And then to put it back on, you just that little J-hook. You get the 2 J-hooks, and fortunately it's not in the picture until after I put it on, but that little J-hook goes in there, then you twist that black thing once and it's solidly secured and it's not going anywhere. So now here's the bathtub. This is what I'm going to add underneath for my plumbing. Instead of a P-trap, that long first white tube is a new style P-trap that's really more of a check valve, and I connected that to a piece of flex pipe that's 1.5 inches. And then I have to reduce that 1.5 inches down to 1.25 inches because that big long black pipe is 1.25 inches ABS, and no one sells 1.25 inches ABS. As far as I can find, it's proprietary to the RV industry. Why didn't they just use 1.5 inches? It would have made life so much easier, but they seem to pride themselves on doing everything non-standard and not available anywhere but through their commercial dealers. So this is a photograph of the same scene that I was just talking about. Okay, here it is. The back wall corner is now complete, I think, all the way down. This is a photograph. Yeah, here it is, the video of the same wall. And I've got it completed down below, and it's all caulked in. And there's the bathtub back in. And there's all the top. So it looks like it's pretty much done. I do have to connect the bathtub underneath. And I think at the end of this video I show those connections. But yeah, my tub is done. This has been quite a project for, well, not really long, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but it's one of my big 3. The other 2 is a leak in the front window and the sagging of the trailer door. So when I get another break between travels, I'll spend a month or 2 fixing each of those things, and I'm not looking forward to them, but they got to be done. It's a project. I got to clean that faucet. I forgot to do that. It's dirty as heck. The rest of the bathtub Shannon and I cleaned very well. Now here's down below. This is how I connected. You see that big long first tube? That's the new P-trap that behaves differently. It's really a check valve. Then I go into an 1.5 inches flex so it won't break in the future. Then I cut that pipe much shorter, and now I go into the 1.25 inches pipe that's almost not on the screen because I'm laying on my stomach filming this. And there's a picture of it, yeah. And then see that big black thing? That's a big 45 mil rubber vapor barrier I put in there. So if there are any leaks in the tub itself there, it'll be caught on that. There's my new pipe. I had to convert it from 1.5 inches down to 1.25 inches to go in that 1.25 inch pipe. And I guess I'm taking another video here of the rubber gasket and everything underneath that's complete, and see if I get a better picture of where it connects. So yeah, but nothing leaks. I was checking it and nothing leaks, so it looks good.